Hey, beautiful. I am so excited today because today we're going to talk about self-care in a way that doesn't feel selfish. We're going to talk about self-care in a way that puts you first while still navigating all of the millions of responsibilities we have, whether it's family, career, aspirations, side hustles, entrepreneurship, losing weight, whatever you got going on. We're going to talk about how you can make self-care a priority for yourself without feeling selfish, without feeling guilty, without feeling like while you're doing self-care, you're supposed to be doing something else for somebody else. We're making it front and center because we're going to put our oxygen mask on before we do anything for anybody else. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's start with reframing how we think initially about self-care. When people usually hear the word self-care, they think spa treatments, going on a staycation, checking into a hotel, going on an airplane somewhere, going to get your nails done. And all of those things can be self-care, but let's go even deeper than that. When we talk about self-care and we talk about pouring into ourselves, just like I said in the intro, we're gonna put our oxygen mask on for ourselves. The most important tool that you have in this life is you. Yes, you. You are the most important tool. And it is completely, quite honestly, very selfish, as a matter of fact, to not take care of the most important thing, which is you. You can't get to anybody else or anything else unless you are taking care of yourself. I know you've probably heard that a million times, but let me give you some reasons why it is so critical. First and foremost, your emotional and physical well-being is completely contingent upon how you take care of yourself. You can't show up for your career, you can't show up for your kids, your parents, for any of the people that depend on you when you are emotionally and physically depleted, when you are winded going up steps, when you are not even wanting to get up out of the bed and wash your makeup off, when you are barely able to listen to your kids telling you about their day because you're so tired or you're so preoccupied with so many other things, or your mind is racing a million miles per hour when it's time to lay down and go to sleep. It's because you're emotionally and physically not where you need to be. Self-care is the door that you walk through to get rid of some of that baggage. Self-care is the door that you walk through that helps you kind of rejuvenate, and it doesn't get rid of your responsibilities and your roles. What it does is it refreshes you. It's like putting gas into your tank. So if you think of self-care not as a thing to do, but as something to pour back into you, that helps you kind of just reframe the whole narrative behind it. Look, I can tell you, and I am sure you know from your own personal experience, when I am operating off of fumes, that is where I get short with people. That is where I don't do my best. That is where I take shortcuts. And when I take shortcuts, me personally, then I think and reflect back later that I could have done this better, or I should have done this better. And that just is a cycle that we want to avoid. So reframing self-care, starting with understanding that it is about taking care of the tool, and the tool is you. So the second thing we're going to do is we're going to set boundaries without guilt. We're going to learn how to say no gracefully without over-explaining. Because see, there are two pieces of that. Some of you struggle with simply just even saying no, which is its own situation. And then some of you simply struggle with saying no without over explaining and justifying why you have the right to say no about anything. Now, I've mentioned this before in our videos. When we make commitments to others where people are depending on us to the level of, we need to find a way to gracefully bow back out of that if that's something that we're going to decide to do. Your word is your bond, and I've said this multiple times. You don't want to go around burning bridges with your friends, your family, and the people that are depending on you. However, and let me be very crystal clear, because saying no is something I don't struggle with at all. Saying no is really your freedom. Saying no is actually a complete opposite. It is the strength of a strong woman. It is the strength of a woman that knows what she wants to do with her time, and she has her priorities. So that is in itself should be empowering to you. Communicate your needs clearly and compassionately with your family members and the people that support you and then you're around you, and make sure that you do not associate that with being weak. Now, this right here was a lesson that was very difficult to me, especially when I was dating my husband. I just wasn't used to anybody taking care of me. I wasn't used to anybody doing things for me without me asking. I was used to always having to be the person to just get out there and do and take the lead. And so over the years, I've kind of learned, you know, picking and choosing my battles and being independent versus like, these are the things I don't want to do, or these are the things I may need your help with. But understand that when you're asking and extending the branch out for help, that is not not a sign of weakness. In fact, once again, it's a sense of empowerment, because then you're able to prioritize your time and energy in the places that you need to. And the last thing when we're setting boundaries without guilt is scheduling your self-care activities into your calendar like you would do with anybody else. And not only are you scheduling your self-care activities, but your self-care activities are the things that you want to do, not what other people think you want to do. Like, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I go get my nails done, that is not self-care to me. I do not actually enjoy sitting there for an hour and a half having someone do my nails and my toes. I just don't. When I go get my hair done, I enjoy that. I feel like that's self-care. And yes, do I know getting a manicure and a pedicure is a form of physically taking care of myself? Yes. But when I think of self-care, and when I'm talking about self-care as it relates to this video, I'm talking about things that rejuvenate me, relax me, put me in a mental and health space. Usually when I'm getting my nails and my hair done, I'm either watching videos or I'm thinking about the things that I've got to do. It's just not something where I sit down and I'm just like, this is relaxing to me. Like, if I could drop my hands and my feet off at the nail place and just come back and pick them up, I totally would. So when I think of something that I enjoy that's self-care that maybe someone else would not particularly care for, I literally love going to Trader Joe's on the weekend. Even though I am doing something for other people, like buying groceries in the house, it's just my routine of going into the grocery store, then following that up with going to H-E-B, going to pick out my flowers for the week, not being bothered, not being rushed, no one's asking me anything. Like, that is a form of self-care to me. So whatever self-care needs to look like to you, make sure that it fits in your schedule and it's in your schedule each week. So let me give you some micro moments of self-care that you can incorporate starting today or even tomorrow as you probably start your work week. First thing is your commute. This is where you can blast your favorite music at absolute maximum volume. This is where you can listen to your favorite podcast. This is where you can listen to your favorite YouTubers. This is where you can listen to all of your audiobooks. Like, this is the time. Like, I have said this in other videos before, my commute is about 35 minutes. If you multiply 35 minutes times 5, that's about 170 minutes a week. That is almost 3 hours. That is 3 hours I am able to not have to be on the phone. That is 3 hours where I'm not thinking about what I need to do when I get home. So many people, and I used to be guilty of this for the longest, like, the car is a quiet place. And for a lot of people, that quiet place in the car is where you do your best thinking, processing, and thinking about all the things that you have to do for the day. Now, I usually do spend about the first 5 minutes in the car kind of just thinking about my day, even though I've already gone over it in the morning. But after that, baby, it is getting ready to be music at full volume, audiobook. If it's football season, I'm listening to some kind of depressing New Orleans Saints podcast. But the point is that it is not time that belongs to anybody else. And I have to be in the car, so I might as well take the moment to make it as productive as possible and as relaxing as possible, or as enjoyable as possible. While you're waiting for your morning coffee to brew, if you're standing in front of the coffee maker, just take 60 seconds and breathe and release. Now, this is going to make some of y'all laugh, especially if you know me in my personal life. So part of my job is that I'm over social emotional learning for a very large school district. I'm over 5 departments, but that's one of them. And I am not a very touchy-feely, emotional person. And so we're constantly in meetings. And every time I go to one of these meetings, you know, they start with some kind of breathing exercise. And as much as I joke about it, I will say it does put you in a good place. So while you're waiting for your morning coffee, or while you're just have like a little bit of downtime in the morning, just take about 60 seconds to breathe. My favorite breathing exercise is Black Panther. It's really meant for kids, y'all, but it's kind of like the Wakanda. You breathe in and you breathe out. You breathe in and you breathe out. Dr. Strahan, you'd be proud of me. Stretching. Do a good quick 5-minute stretch. I like to do this in the morning, like after I brush my teeth, whether it's just reaching across my arms, both directions, reaching across the crook of my back, reaching down, touching my toes, just something to get your blood flowing, but that says, hey, I'm awake and I'm alive. I also like to do this in the evening, like right before I kind of get into the bed, because one thing is I'm going to work out in the morning, so I'm going to be moving my body already, but just especially once you get past a certain age, y'all, stretching is going to lead to mobility later on down in the road. So definitely incorporate a little bit of stretching. And then the last thing is make self-care something that you look forward to, where it belongs to you. Like, It doesn't require you to spend a lot of money. It doesn't require you to do this massive amounts of planning. When you're doing like grandiose self-care, like I'm going off to the spa for the day and I'm getting a hotel room, like that is something that you can look forward to, but that's probably realistically not going to be something you're going to be able to do every week. But how awesome would it be to have a annual or quarterly self-care trip? So if that's not something that you've considered, I would really suggest that you do that at least once or twice a year. And I'm not talking about a full-fledged vacation. I'm talking about I'm going to have a date on the calendar 6 months from now where it is all about me. You could call it, for me, Diaka Day. You could call it whatever your name is. You could call it whatever it is. But just being able to look forward to having that kind of just, okay, up until this point, I'm doing self-care. And I'm going to leave you also with this. Self-care is not shopping. Self-care is not shopping. It can be therapeutic. It can be enjoyable. But when you're replacing material things for taking care of your well-being, that's not the same thing. Now, that's not to say shopping can't fit into a self-care day, because it can. But material things don't actually fix when you're not taking care of you. So be very, very mindful of how you're spending money as it relates to filling the void of actually not taking care of yourself. So remember, taking care of yourself, it is not luxury. Taking care of yourself is essential and critical to your overall emotional, physical, and just even spiritual well-being. So if there's anything that you take away this video today, it's that being in a place of self-care is not about anybody other than you, and it being about you is absolutely okay. I'm giving you permission, if you're not giving permission to yourself, to put yourself in a place where you're taking care of you. So as always, I hope you enjoyed. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.